Well, today is January 18th of 2026, and it's a Sunday, and Ryan has recently released a new game, How the Little Match Girl Came to Learn the Code of Poseidon. Sino una cosa más agregata al mundo. First of all, I gotta thank Ebenezy for bringing us all together and using her powers to let us breathe underwater. Karen starts clapping for you, and the others join in. You shrug. And I'd like to thank the Mermaid Princesses for hosting us in their gorgeous palace. Just unreal. More applause. It's our pleasure, Irene and Eunoia managed to say in unison. Finally, we should all thank Brittany, because playing bass is historically a very thankless role. Apparently, this merits the loudest applause of all. Brittany looks like she's about to say something, but Karen keeps going. Now, before we start jamming, I have a little assignment I need you to do. She hands you a stack of plastic tablets. You take one and pass them along. It's a really quick personality test to help me get a handle on our group dynamic. And also, it's just important to know these things about yourself. But we don't want to influence each other's responses, so let's all adjourn to our assigned personal areas. You glance at the tablet, then around at the others. Everyone is glancing at everyone else. A sentiment is conveyed, silently, from person to person. Then, one by one, they leave, until you and Karen are alone in the rec room. How the Little Match Girl Came to Learn the Code of Poseidon. A brief episode between adventures by Hans Christian Andersen. Release 1, serial number 260115, Inform 7, version 10.1.2, Vorpal version 4.0.1. Rec Room. Karen declared that this large central area would be the base of operations for tonight's business. She also decided that it would double as her personal area, which she seemed to think was rather selfless of her. Passages lead east and south. Karen looks at you expectantly. About? Thank you for playing How the Little Match Girl Came to Learn the Code of Poseidon, a tiny little self-indulgent episode in the already very self-indulgent Little Match Girl series. Development of this game was supported by my generous Patreon supporters. Let's sort them alphabetically by email address this time. Carl, Brett W., Carolyn, Q, Zachary, Doug, Robert, Janice, Emily, Grant, Greg, Yarrick, Ivan, Jason, Josh, Jason, I'm Not Here, Jeremy, Carl, Kenneth, Jenny, Mark, Matt, Evan, Maiko, Derek, Nils, Janelle, Rich, Robert, Robin, Sarah, Russ, Ori, Sarah, Matthew, Benjamin, Stephen, Alan, Tobias, Jessica, Sammy, Zachary, and Jacques. Phew, that's a lot of names. You can support my work and get early access to my games at patreon.com/rcveeder. This game was tested by Tobias Langhoff. Well, examine me. You are a little girl with flaxen hair. Your friend Karen thought it would be fun to put a band together, so you invited some other friends, and here you are. Let's examine Karen. Karen Produski has strawberry blonde hair, freckles, and apparently unlimited enthusiasm for extracurricular activities. She's the captain of her dance team back home, and she seems to have made herself the captain of this musical combination. Her clipboard is on the podium behind her. Look at that clipboard. You can't get a look at the clipboard without Karen noticing, but she doesn't seem to mind. She's written out a little chart. Karen Produski, from Neo Antarctica 2104, age 18, rhythm guitar, lead vox, Dan Hicks. ECCB type, Rose. Ebenezy Scrooge, from London 1847, age 18, violin, symphony, Sid Page. ECCB type, blank. Irene, from Atlantis, what year? Age 18, backup vox, Naomi Eisenberg. ECCB type, blank. Eunoia, from Atlantis, age twins, backup vox, Marianne Page. ECCB type, blank. Brittany Allen, from New Jersey 2003, age 18 I think, bass, Jamie Leopold. ECCB type, blank. Examine the tablet. A rather insubstantial piece of white plastic. The touchscreen indicates that it's ready to begin your ECCB personality type evaluation. Are you ready to start? No. Then you won't touch anything yet. Let's talk to Karen. Karen waves you urgently away. We can chit-chat later. First, you have to finish your personality evaluation. I mean, test. Right, we had exits east and south. Let's go east to the curving hall. Karen has set aside this stretch of hallway as your personal area. The rec room is to the west. Brittany has to pass through your personal area to get anywhere. Her own area is the south end of the hall. We go south to the alcove. A little office has been set up on the bench at the end of the hallway. The way back is north. Brittany sits off to the side, cross-legged on the floor. She gives you a little wave. I'll examine Brittany. In her role as Sewer Queen of Newark, Brittany wears fishnet tights and a vintage leather jacket. Tonight, it's sweatpants and a Hello Kitty shirt. I try talking to Brittany. You're done with the test already? Brittany rolls her eyes. I have a policy when it comes to stupid nonsense. Either I ignore it or I get it out of my way as fast as possible. Karen isn't going to let us ignore her, though, is she? You'll like her once you get to know her. She leans against the wall. I came here to have a good time playing music. Tell me when that starts happening. Fair enough. Let's go north. Let's go west. And let's go south. Here's the music room. When you arrived, the only instrument in here was that large harp. For the evening, your violin, Karen's guitar, and Brittany's bass have been added to the collection. The rec room is north, and an antechamber is west. The music room is also Yunoya's designated personal area. She's not happy about it. I examine Yunoya. She swims up and down one end of the room, flicking her tail stiffly. She regards her tablet with undisguised contempt. I talk to Yunoya. Yunoya lowers her tablet and pulls you in close. Where did you find this Produsky woman? She hisses. You smile helplessly. I guess this is just how they do things in Neo-Antarctica. Well, in Atlantis, a realm of which I am a princess, I am not accustomed to being given assignments by guests in my own palace. It shouldn't take too long, you tell her. She lets go of your shirt. It had better not, she grumbles, glaring back at her tablet. I examine the harp, carved from coral and absurdly tall. How can anyone play it? I'll check out my violin. Frequently you wonder about the history of this violin. Did it belong to anyone before Eurymedon? What were those previous owners like? We examine the guitar. Karen was showing off her acoustic 12-string earlier. It's just a chord, she said, although it wasn't clear to you what that implied. And the bass. The finish on Brittany's upright bass is marred by numerous deep scratches, which Yunoya did not manage to refrain from exclaiming over when the instrument was first revealed. Brittany didn't mind. She's seen some action, she said, a bit proudly. We'll go to the antechamber to the west, where Irina is waiting. The anteroom, a small waiting area, but with no chairs. Irina eagerly claimed this chamber as her personal area. The music room is east, and the stairs are to the north. Irina herself is sitting in the corner. We talk to her. Yunoya is upset, she observes, not looking up. It can be difficult meeting new people, you say. Not everyone gets along as well as we sisters do. That makes her smile. A little. I thought tonight was going to be fun. It will be, once we all understand each other a little better. This test thing is just Karen's way of doing that. Irina shakes her head. We should have done it Yunoya's way. Curious. Irina is still busy with her tablet. She might not be done for a little while. North is stairs. The bottom of a simple stairway, perhaps the most modest in the palace. The hallway leads south. Let's go back to our area. Let's examine the tablet once more. Are you ready to start? Yes. You tap the screen, it blinks, and a new message appears. Indicate the extent to which you agree with each statement. 1. You do not agree at all. 7. You agree strongly. Statement 1. I am a reliable person. I'm gonna put 6 for that. I'm playing as Ebenezabeth here, so in her mind, I think she thinks she's a 6. You tap the number. Another message appears. I feel comfortable in my own skin. Enter number. 7. I communicate my feelings correctly. Enter number. We're going to put a 5 for that. I like other people more than I like myself. I think she's neutral about that. I am self-conscious. Neutral would have been 4. Hi, John. Another message. I notice things that most people ignore. I guess we're just avoiding 4s here. The stories I tell are interesting. I don't know that she thinks the stories that she tells are interesting. I'm going to err on the side of 3. I am a worrier. That's going to be... I think that's going to be a 5. Sometimes I forget important things. I think 4. This is where we deploy our 4. I see things the way they really are. I think she thinks she does. I am conscious. 6. My feelings are as important as other people's feelings. That's a 4. My friends see me as a trustworthy person. 6. I am myself. 7. Sometimes I don't get jokes. 3. I have to work to keep my desires in check. Let's say 2. I should worry more. 6. No, 5. You tap once more and the screen goes blank for a moment. Eventually, it lights up with one more message. Your ECCB personality type is Egg, and my cat is standing in the way. Congratulations. Then the tablet turns itself off. We go west to Karen. Let's examine the... It's a clipboard. Okay, so it's just a clipboard, right? Let's talk to Karen. I think I'm finished, you say, handing Karen your tablet. She tilts it at an odd angle, and the screen lights up. She glances at the readout and nods. Just what I was expecting. The egg type is loyal and clever and determined. Everything my Ebenezer is. She puts the tablet away. It wasn't a very long test, you observe. It doesn't have to be, she says, jotting something on her clipboard. It uses biometrics and gaze tracking to get your unconscious response to each question, so it can compare that to your conscious response and triangulate. She blinks and looks up at you rather seriously. Could you do me a big favor and collect the other girls' tablets? They know you better, and I don't want to spook them. Of course, you say. So we go east and south. Let's talk to Brittany. I'm supposed to bring back your tablet, you say. I heard, Brittany says. These acoustics in here are kind of ridiculous. She passes you the device. Okay, the tablet turns itself off. We go north, we go west, we go south to the music room. Talk to Eunoia. Karen wants me to collect everyone's tablets, you say, whenever you're finished. Eunoia tosses the device at you. Thank you ever so much, my darling sister. Let me know when Karen decides we should be allowed to play some of that Landwalker music that was supposedly the purpose for us all getting together in the first place. And don't tell her I said that. You nod and grab the tablet as soon as it floats within reach. West to the anteroom. Let's talk talk to Irina. Can I collect your tablet? Thank you, she says, handing it to you. Are we allowed to tell each other our results? I don't know, you tell her. Are you worried about yours? I don't know what it means, she says, but yes, I suppose I am. Go east and north. Give tablets to Karen. Oh, I can't do that. I have each of their tablets. Give Irina's. You hand over Irina's tablet. Karen inspects it, makes a note on her clipboard. No surprises there. The Bell personality type can tend toward, well, introspective is a harsh way to put it, but I'm sure we can all work it out. Give Eunoia's tablet. You hand Karen Eunoia's tablet. She tilts it and reads the screen. She shakes her head and turns to note the result on her clipboard. Exactly what I was afraid of. We're both roses. That's a bad thing? You can't have more than one rose, Ebenezer. It doesn't work. I'm going to have to... She sighs. I'm going to have to figure out what to do. Give Brittany's tablet. You give her Brittany's tablet. She activates it. A shadow falls over her face. What is it? Karen needs a moment to collect herself. Then she leans in and whispers, Brittany is a snail. That sounds bad. She scribbles on her clipboard. It's not inherently bad. Snails are great on their own. But in collaborative, creative situations, a snail and a rose are completely incompatible. Brittany and I can't even... She rubs her forehead. We've really got our work cut out for us, Ebenezer. She looks over the clipboard again, bites her lip. Then she turns away from you. She calls out to the echoing halls. Okay, you can come back. Eunoia, Irina, and Brittany stalk back into the rec room. Karen presses her hands together. This is exciting, she says. Our particular combination of ECCB types is going to make working together a very interesting challenge. Brittany cuts in. What exactly is so challenging about playing music together? The fact we don't have a drummer? Dan Hicks didn't need a drummer, Karen says flatly. Sorry, we're getting off on the wrong foot. You got off on the wrong foot when you decided you were the princess of this music band, Eunoia hisses. Karen sighs. I didn't mean... See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. She picks up her clipboard. 2 roses on the same project. Brittany grabs the clipboard out of her hand. The heck is this? You're keeping dossiers on us? Why does my personality type have a dismay emoticon next to it? Irina leans over her shoulder. What's a dismay emoticon? Irina looks up at Karen, gawking in disbelief. How dare you? Karen reaches for the clipboard. Let me explain, she says. At this point, people start yelling, and it becomes difficult to tell who's saying what. Let's go south to the music room. When you arrived, the only instrument in here was that large harp. For the evening, your violin, Karen's guitar, and Brittany's bass have been added to the collection. Are we just a spreadsheet to you? No, Karen's voice is quickly drowned out. It's not for you to carry around. I refuse to be. Excuse me, you're not... What can you do? You can't even think. This really isn't the right time. Bullying us! That's absurd. I got the bullying vaccine when I was 5, just like every... I try singing, and it's, Celtic. Someone screams like a train whistle. You have to get out of here, if only to get away from the noise. Here's the anteroom. Here's the stairs. Let's go up. Pottery. Finally, the screaming fades into the distance. 6 urns of various colors and sizes sit on 6 identical plinths. The girls are back downstairs. The hall continues to the east. What a mess. But you should have seen it coming. None of them are all that easy to be around on their own. What else could happen when they're all in the same room? And you're the one who put them there. This is your mess. Let's examine these urns. 3 of the vessels are painted with figures in the Atlantean tradition, depicting merfolk at work and play. Between them are a tall white vase painted with a blue peafowl, a narrow vase with a metallic glaze, and a stainless steel cylinder. Just blocks of white stone. That's the plinths. We'll go to the east. Suits of armor. The warriors lining the walls don't make up a cohesive phalanx. No two have the same uniform. This one is a samurai. That one is a gladiator. The exits are north and west. Marble Hall. The arched hallway runs north and south. A passage to the west is flanked by 2 statues of merfolk. There should be a way to fix it. If you could say the right thing, everyone would calm down. That's how it's supposed to work, but when has it ever turned out that way? Because you haven't figured out the secret. If you just knew what the right thing was... Examine statues. A boy and a girl, maybe 10 years old. The girl has a pet crab riding on her shoulder. The boy cradles a content-looking nautilus. We continue north. Upsetting statue. A merman is wrestling with a giant octopus. Neither of them are enjoying themselves. Winding stairs lead higher up, and the archaeological exhibit is south. The marble figures are somewhat larger than life size, you assume, magnifying the merman's muscles and straining tendons, the beast's suckers and gaping beak. The palace's suffusion of turquoise light does little to soften their features. We go up to the dragon head. At the top of the stairs, the carved prow of a Viking ship leans over you, eyes bulging. A passage leads west. Examine the prow. It's clear from the condition of the planks that the prow was separated from the rest of the longship under violent circumstances. The more you look at it, the less threatening the dragon head seems. It's just a piece of wood. Go west to Meteorite. A pitted black stone sits in the center of the gallery, surrounded by a fence of delicate silver chain. Exits lead north, east, west. You really feel like crying. When was the last time you cried? Have you forgotten how? You're such a tough bounty hunter now. You can't do it anymore? Are you a heartless murderer? Now you're just beating yourself up to make the tears come easier. It's not working. I examine the meteorite. There's a fissure through the stone, and a spot where there might be a part missing. We came from the west. Let's go further west, or do we go north? Let's go north. Display room. A glass case sits in a cone of cool light. Inside the case is a glass bottle. The way out is south. The glass is brown, almost black. It's empty. No, it's full of the same water that fills the room. Raised letters on its surface read, Melmoth's Universal Tonic. I just examined the case to see that in the display case is a glass bottle. We go back south and we go west. Bas relief. A scene is carved on the marble wall. The gallery continues north and east. Let's examine the scene. Poseidon sits in profile on his coral throne, frowning thoughtfully. Standing before him are 2 human divers with hands raised in supplication. Their faces are hidden under bulbous metal helmets. It's kind of an amusing scene to imagine. Let's go north. To the floor mosaic. You have to stare at the floor for a long time before you understand what you're looking at. It's a map. The other galleries are south, and a narrow stairway leads up. Heck yeah, 2nd week in a row playing a game with a mosaic map on the floor. Let's examine it. The map depicts Atlantis in her antediluvian state, dividing the ocean into northern and southern seas. Her western shores almost touch North and South America. To the east, she's separated from Africa by only a few blue tiles. Let's go up to the narrow hall. The cramped arrangement of this hall and the stairway make wonder how much they want people wandering the galleries below. The way out is southwest. To the gallery, a cathedraline statuary hall lined with busts of dignitaries. The throne room is north, as the stair down to the galleries is northeast. I examine the busts. The busts depict generous and attractive patrons of the arts arranged in chronological order of their patronage. This one is a bust of Jenny Polodna. And we can continue examining to see the rest as we have so many times before, but let's go north to the throne room. Poseidon leads forward in his coral throne. He looks happy to see you. The way out is south. I examine him. The king of Atlantis and lord of all Merfolk wears a gentle smile. He can tell how upset you are. He wants to help. I talk to him. You stiffen your voice. Good evening, your majesty. It is not meet that little girls should wander the halls of my palace alone, Poseidon says softly, but I will make an exception for my mortal champion, whom the landwalkers call Ebenezabeth Scrooge. Why are you not practicing with your band? Heavy sigh. The others aren't getting along very well, you say. They must get along quite poorly indeed to drive you so far from the rec room. Please, my dear, tell me the whole story. So you tell him. By the time you finish, his expression has hardened. I am partly to blame, he mutters. A better father would not have raised his daughters to behave so shamefully, but it is too late for that. Would you accept my advice, little girl? Of course, your majesty. Poseidon nods. He reclines in his throne. He presses his huge thumbs and forefingers together in a triangle. He stares through the shape, calculating something in his mind. Then he speaks. Karen is right about one thing. She and Eunoia both see themselves as natural leaders. They each expect the others to form a rank around them. But the quality of leadership does not arise from seeing oneself a certain way. Too often have I witnessed. He shakes his head, leaning forward toward you again. I fear that you and I share similar fates, Ebenezabeth. Were it in my power, I would free you from yours. But perhaps it is given to me to spare you some portion of the hardship I have suffered. I will give to you a model of leadership, one which I learned only by painful experience. I will teach you the Code of Poseidon. You nod. The Code's first precept is the mortification of self-interest. For the group to triumph, the leader must fail. But not only are your goals subordinate to the goals of the group, your own happiness is subordinate to the group's success. You must endure misery, and must endure it silently, lest your followers turn from their goal to comfort you. The second precept is the necessity of bias. A ruler may claim to treat all his subjects with equal affection, with equal trust, but so he deceives his subjects and perhaps himself. You will perforce have favorites among your followers. You must be conscious of these preferences and ensure they are the correct ones. Then you must allocate your favor accordingly. Accept your most trustworthy follower into your confidence first. He is your last line of defense against the others. Then bring the next most trustworthy one into the fold, and so on. Maintain this order of precedence in all your dealings, in keeping secrets, in asking advice. Never turn first to one you have deemed less worthy of your esteem. The final precept is the inevitability of treachery. It follows from the second. The ally you trust least is your enemy. Whether out of resentment or incompetence, the weakest link will break first. You must be willing to shut that one out, to turn the others against him, to heap on him all the blame for failure. The blame will be his if you have judged him rightly. Dang. But, Your Majesty, I don't want to do that to any of my friends. No, Were you truly heartless, I could never. You would profit nothing from my advice. But to end this strife between your friends, you must steel yourself just as I have told you. You must find the courage to be unkind, though it break your mild and loving heart. Did the first precept of my code not warn you that you would suffer? You lower your head. So the first precept is you cannot succeed if you want the group to win, but if you want to win, the group cannot. I'm reviewing this paragraph. The code's first precept is the mortification of self-interest. For the group to triumph, the leader must fail. But not only are your goals subordinate to the goals of the group, your own happiness is subordinate to the group's success. You must endure misery and must endure it silently, lest your followers turn from their goal to comfort you. So we can ruin the group's goals by enforcing our own goal and not enduring misery silently. If we cry, will that actually break the cycle and allow us to just be friends rather than be a band? That may be the option, an option to consider if we don't want to play along and ostracize someone. Think. You take a moment to consider the situation. I talk to Poseidon. Poseidon looks down at you sadly. Remember my words, Ebenezer Scrooge. If you follow my code, though the bonds of leadership may sorely chafe, the success of your musical group shall be as certain as the prosperity of Atlantis. Allocate your favor accordingly. Okay. So, I foresee a series of possible outcomes here, but let's just go see what happens if we try and circumvent the situation. Let's look. Let's go south and northeast. Who do you trust? You've known Eunoia and Irina the longest. They're supposed to be your sisters. Eunoia is so confident, but she's in her own little world. It's hard to relate to her. Is that a factor in how much you can trust her? Down. Map room. The other galleries are south. Irina is more reasonable than Eunoia, maybe. She sees things more clearly. They're both more loyal to each other than they could ever be to you. Listen to yourself. You're turning into Poseidon. East. East. Brittany seems to like you, even though you have nothing in common. She's so tough. A good one to have in your corner. She wouldn't like you so much if she knew you were thinking about her like this. Down. South. Karen is the most fun to be around. This whole thing was her idea. Is that good or bad? You would have thought of her as more trustworthy before she brought in this personality test. Judging people that way is more or less what you're doing right now. South. West. The girls are back downstairs. Down. South. East. Music room. It's really just a 12-bar blues, but it uses all these 13th chords to get a very ethereal, unresolved sort of feel. I don't really know how to explain the harmonies, but you two will get a handle on them. First, let's... Ebenezabeth! Eunoia rushes past Karen to embrace you. Oh, my darling sister, we thought you were dead. We thought you were upset, says Irina. I was upset, you say, without really thinking about it. Karen sets down her guitar. When we finally noticed you were gone, I realized that I had been, shall we say, not making a very good first impression. We shall say that, Brittany says, but we all agreed that we were all being at least a little terrible. So we decided to start over and try to engage on a human level, without quizzes. And now we like each other, though not near so much as we like you, sweet, lovely, tender Ebenezabeth. The way Eunoia is stroking your hair, she might actually have thought you were dead. Eunoia wanted to go looking for you, but Irina said you needed your alone time, which seemed reasonable. Karen is avoiding eye contact. So hopefully you'll forgive us, but we were just about to start without you. Which means you got here just in time, Brittany says, readying her bass. Eunoia pulls you into the circle. Irina hands you your violin. And Karen picks up her guitar again. I was just demoing a tune that I think would feature all 5 of us very nicely. It goes like this. She strums some of those 13th chords and begins to sing. A little before she left me, I asked her what it's all about. She said, I feel like dancin'. I feel like steppin' out. The end. Would you like to restart, restore a saved game, quit, or undo the last command? That is very nice. I was expecting to have to wrangle the situation in some way, but it seems like that was a satisfactory resolution. So we'll call that good. And I want to thank you so much for watching as we played through How the Little Match Girl Came to Learn the Code of Poseidon. So we'll call that good for the day. Have a great rest of your day.